Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. It's time to have a look at the ground forces that were past the developers for September 2023. There's a bunch of them, and most of them are pretty nice. A bunch of them have actually been passed before, but c'est la vie. Why not pass them again, I suppose? Let's get into them. The first one is for Germany, and it's the Panzer III Ausf L mit 7.5/5.5cm Waffe 0725L/57. I thought I'd read this one verbatim because there are a few issues with it, and I'm not entirely sure what it's trying to say. The Panzer III Ausf L mit Waffe 0725 is exactly what the name implies, and PZ3 Ausf L like already in game, but instead of the good old 5cm KWK 39L60, it is equipped with the 7.5/5.5cm Waffe 0725L57. What is the 5.5cm Waffe 0725L57? It is the early name and development for an tank and anti-tank weapon, later mainly used as 7.5/5.5cm Pak 41 L57 with the Gerlich principle. The gun has a tapered bore, where at the beginning the round is 7.5cm and the last part of the barrel tapers down the 5.5cm, and by that highly increasing the velocity. Overall, the plan was to equip it to the VK3001 and VK3601 series, which didn't fit without redising, which was made and planned in 1944, were made to equip 10 turrets, but they were bombed before it was finished and was to use remaining Pak 41 ammo. While it didn't work out with the VK series, which wasn't put into main production in the end, one PZ3 Ausf L was however converted to use the Waffe 0725, but due the tungsten shortage and better alternatives such as KWK-40 and the Panzer IV, as well as the ending lifetime of the PZ3, it was instead chosen to keep the 5cm KWK 39L60, later 7.5cm KWK 37L24, and give the Panzer IV the KWK-40. We also have the T90M, which has been passed before. The T90M Breakthrough, also known as the Object 188M Breakthrough 3, is an advanced main battle tank that was developed by the Russian company Uralvagonzavod. It is the latest member of the T90 family of tanks, which has been in service with the Russian military since 1992. Development began in the early 2010s, with the vehicle being presented for the first time at Army 2018. 2 years later, the vehicle entered service within the Russian Army. The T90M incorporates a number of upgrades and improvements over its predecessors, making it one of the most advanced tanks in the world today. The T90M is equipped with the same 2A46M5 gun that is used on the T90MS and the T90A. However, the T90M features the new chrome-lined barrel that provides a significant increase in accuracy compared to its predecessors. The T90M carries a total of 40 rounds of ammunition, with 22 rounds being stored in the automatic loader and the remaining 20 rounds stored in the hull. New ammunition storage holding 10 rounds, including propellants, has been added in the turret bustle. Other weapons include a coaxial 7.62mm PKTM machine gun and a 12.7mm quad machine gun within a remote weapons station. The T90M also received a new fire control system dubbed Kalina and a new sighting system, which includes the Sosna U multi-channel gunner sight and the Hawkeye multi-channel commander sight. The Sosna U sight uses a second-generation Catherine FC thermal imaging camera from France and a ballistic computer to detect and track targets. The Catherine FC thermal imager is the primary imager. However, attempts of phasing it out have been made for locally made thermal sights, possibly the FEM-18M03. However, the zoom offered by the sight is limited, with only a 3x optical magnification and a 6x maximum digital magnification. The gunner can use either an eyepiece or a flat-screen display. The Hawkeye sight offers a near 360-degree viewing arc, while itself using a thermal sight. Not only has the gunner and the commander receiving new sights, the vehicle features 4 external TV cameras to assist in situational awareness. The driver is equipped with a day periscope that can be added, but that can be swapped with an IR periscope to assist in night driving. The T90M features a next-generation dynamic armor package that provides protection against a wide range of threats, including kinetic energy penetrators, high explosive anti-tank rounds, and even rocket-propelled grenades by detonating incoming projectiles before they can penetrate the armor. This dynamic armor, or explosive reactive armor named Relict, spelt wrong, can be found on other Russian tanks such as the T-72B3 or the T-80 BVM. This ERA covers the frontal arc and the top of the sides of the turret, with additional kits such as the 4S24, which adds soft Relict ERA on the sides of the hull and rear of the turret, which have the appearance of bags. Supplementing this is cage armor protecting the engine compartment and mesh netting around the turret to protect the turret ring from ATGMs. The T-90M also has a laser warning system that alerts the crew to the presence of laser rangefinders or target designators, allowing them to make evasive action or launch a smokescreen. Plans to incorporate the Arena M hardkill active protection system are in the works, which significantly increases survivability by targeting incoming anti-tank guided missiles. Arena M is capable of defending against attacks from any direction, including against top attack munitions. The system uses radar and maneuverable ammunition to destroy incoming threats, and it has been designed to operate in an automatic mode with minimal reaction time. This APS has been developed and designed by Vladimir Karkin, head of the development and design department of the Kolomna KBM, who recently disclosed the details of the system to the Russian MOD TV channel. The T-90M is powered by a V92S2 F2 diesel engine that produces 1130 horsepower. The engine is paired with an automatic transmission that allows the tank to travel at speeds of up to 60 km an hour on roads and 40 off-road. The tank has a range of approximately 500 km on a single fuel tank. It completely is very annoying that all of this is straight up copy and pasted from a source that isn't English, therefore isn't checked by the team. This is another suggestion put forward by the same person, which is copy and pasted from another website. No idea why this keeps getting through. The Common Tactical Wheeled Vehicle, the ICV. The Common Tactical Wheeled Vehicle, Infantry Combat Vehicle, or for this suggestion, the ICV, is a new 8x8 vehicle designed as a possible replacement for the Type 89 infantry fighting vehicle that has been in service since 1989. The Common Tactical Vehicle, the Common Tactical Wheeled Vehicle, or the ICV, finds its origins in the Mitsubishi Armored Vehicle, the MAV chassis, a universal 8x8 chassis that was developed in the early 2010s and announced in 2014. The MAV itself was designed to replace the Type 96 APC, as well as to be able to accept a multiple set of different roles, such as an ICV or Infantry Fighting Vehicle, MCV or Fire Support Vehicle, the Type 16 RCV, or Reconnaissance Vehicle, Ambulance, Self-Propelled Motor Vehicle, and more. As of September 2022, two prototypes of the ICV were spotted, featuring an unmanned turret housing a 30mm Mark 44 Bushmaster II automatic cannon developed by Orbital ATK, which itself is derived from a 25mm M242 Bushmaster and is capable of firing a variety of munitions such as APF-SDST. Mounted next to the main gun is a coaxial 7.62mm Bushmaster Mark 54 machine gun. It is unknown if the main gun will be configured to fire airburst rounds. For operating the armament, the ICV features an enhanced fire control system, however not much is known of it. It is believed to be equipped with a new integrated laser rangefinder and thermal imaging system. The commander does not have access to an independent sight, however, this could be changed in the future as it remains in a prototype status. The ICV, as stated, utilizes the MAV chassis and is equipped with a 570 horsepower turbocharged diesel engine, the same found on the Type 16 MCV, and can be equipped with modular composite armor to increase protection and survivability. The ICV, as at its expected production form, will have a combat weight below 26 tons. This lightweight vehicle will still take care on the roads in Japan due to its width and, although exempt, surpassing Japan's vehicle restriction ordinances on weight for roadways. For protection, the ICV can equip modular composite armor that can be added or removed depending on missions or roadway requirements. It can also be equipped with slat armor to protect against heat-shaped charges or V-shaped add-on armor on the bottom of the hull to protect against IEDs and mines. The ICV is expected to equip 8 66mm smoke grenade launchers, as well as integrating a laser warning receiver suite to act as countermeasures in the case of target tracking or laser-guided missiles. Information is limited and will be updated as more information is released or sources are posted. China get the PLZ-83. In the late 1970s, Norinco, specifically Factory 674, began development on a dedicated self-propelled artillery piece to replace the aging PLZ-70. This system was to be much more powerful and versatile than its predecessor in just about every way. To achieve this, a reference was needed, one of which could be found in Russia. The 2S3 Akatsiya had just entered Russian service in 1971. It featured a large and lightly armoured profile, being equipped with a massive 152mm cannon. The design was perfect for China's needs. The first prototype was completed in 1980, which was quickly followed by a second in 1981. Production was officially authorized in May of 1983, being unveiled later that year in a military parade. The PL-66 152mm howitzer, a Chinese copy of the Soviet D-20, was chosen as the main weapon. This cannon was capable of firing both Chinese and Russian ammunition, as well as laser-guided projectiles. When compared to the system it was based off of, the PLZ-83 has a noticeably distinct silhouette due to its large, more boxy turret as well as a secondary 12.7mm HMG, something the 2S3 lacked. A semi-automatic loading system allowed the PLZ-83 to reach a maximum fire rate of 4 to 5 rounds a minute, with 30 rounds available. If the need arises, the system is fully capable of direct fire, with the gun being able to depress -5 degrees. A 520 horsepower engine allows the vehicle to move at a maximum speed of 55 km an hour. In 2005, the PLZ-83 was officially replaced by the PLZ-05. However, the PLZ-83 still remains in limited service. Another vehicle finds itself from France to another nation. This is the Semovente B1 Bis. In 1940, with the fall of France at the hands of the Germans and Italians, the motherland of baguettes was occupied by the joint Italian-German forces, and a part was left to itself with the name of Vichy France, in quotation marks. In the areas occupied by the Italians, there were some factories and industries, and in some of them, the Char B1 Bis tanks that had been hidden in a cave were captured by the Italians. The self-propelled vehicles were some almost complete, and others without the turrets, but the Italians still decided to test them by renaming them Semovente B1 Bis. But the times proved to be monstrously long, and in mid-1943, the vehicles ended its trial among the Italian ranks, but given the situation that arose to create the tank was left to itself. The next vehicle is the AMX-10 RCR T40M. This vehicle is nothing more than a demonstrator and testbed for the T40M manned turret. It was shown at the Satori Exposition in 2013. The vehicle features an early version of the turret that we now see on the ERBC Jaguar, the latest support vehicle to have entered service with the French Army. While that vehicle's hull was still developing, the turret was already in the further stage. Test firings had to be done, therefore the turret was mounted on top of a pre-existing AMX-10 RCR hull, resulting in this vehicle. While it might only be a one-off testbed, I still feel like this vehicle could have a place in the game. The turret found on this vehicle is an early version of the T40M turrets. This one has 2 crew in it, and unlike the RBC Jaguar, lacks the Acheron missiles. Instead, the box on the side of the turret are mock-ups that would have been able to hold other ATGMs. Likely these missiles would be either HOTS or TOWs. It fires case-telescoped ammunition, which gives the weapon a great punch for its size. The cannon can fire a very wide variety of ammunition: GPR, ABPT, PD, also APF-SDS, TPT, TPRRT. The APF-SDS has up to 140mm of penetration against NATO standard RHA and features a muzzle velocity of over 1500 meters per second. The gun also has excellent elevation limits of -10 to +45, which gives the vehicle great flexibility in its engagement choices and even allows you to attack aircraft and helicopters. The turret holds 60 rounds of ammunition ready to use, with more being found in the hull. The gun has a fire rate of up to 200 rounds per minute, or up to 80 rounds per minute with high accuracy. Besides the main gun and possibly ATGM launchers, the turret also features a remote weapon system. This RWS has a 7.62mm machine gun mounted. As far as the mobility goes, the vehicle obviously profits from the excellent characteristics of the MX-10RC we know in the game. The 6x6 vehicle is powered by the Baoduin GF11SX diesel engine, developing 280 horsepower. The overall empty weight of the vehicle should be around 14,400 kilos, a small reduction compared to the 15,000 kilos of the MX-10RC. This difference is the result of the new turret weighing 3,800 kilos, which is 600 kilos less than the TK-105 turret, which supposedly weighed 4,400 kilos. The vehicle doesn't have steering wheels, instead using skid steering. The principle is similar to how a tank turns, with the wheels on one side turning faster or slower to turn the vehicle. It can also turn in place by driving the wheels on one side forward while the others go backwards. Unlike the AMX-10RC though, the added armor on the RCR model means that the vehicle is no longer amphibious. The next vehicle is the Luftvärnskanonvagn FM43. The AB Landswerk received a task back in mid-1942 by KAFT to produce a prototype for a self-propelled anti-aircraft gun with a 20mm Cannon 40 as its main armament. The reason to this was because if Sweden ever went to war, they would not be able to count on the air supremacy of their air force in the event of a conflict ever arises. KAFT originally ordered 42 SPAAGs with the designation of LVSTRV M42, which would have been divided among the tank battalions of the Swedish Armed Forces. During its prototype phase, during 42 to 43, the LVSTRV M42 had 3 different variants which showed potential. The first prototype, which was a mere miniature mock-up, so not a prototype, was armed 3 by 20mm Cannon 40 cannons and had 2 9mm machine guns as a self-defense armament against infantry. The second prototype replaced the 20mm cannons and the 9mm machine gun with a single 40mm Bofors Vacan M36. Both of these prototypes used the L60 as the hull for the self-propelled anti-aircraft gun. The third prototype, however, used the L62 Anti as its hull for the self-propelled anti-aircraft gun. While having a changed hull, it also carried 2 40mm Bofors Vacan M36s instead of a single 40mm Bofors cannon. However, during the tests, which occurred at Bofors back in 42, KAFT realized the 5-year plan, which would have originally provided 42 units of the 20mm pieces. After experiments at Bofors in 1942, it had been established that the construction was not appropriate. After a further investigation and consultation of all the interested parties, KAFT has proposed to the commander of the army to decide whereby he has determined that the largest possible number should be procured within the cost framework. The results from the various tests between 42 and 43 concluded with an order from KAFT, in which 17 units of the LVSTRV M42 self-propelled anti-aircraft gun armed with 2 40mm Bofors Vacan M36s and a modified L62 anti-hull were to be delivered to the Swedish Armed Forces before the end of 44. Also, during the production phase of the vehicle, the designation of the SPAAG was changed to the name of Luftvärnskanonvagn FM43. However, this became a very optimistic plan because none of the LVKV's FM43, which KAFT ordered, were completed by the end of 1944. Trouble continued to arise for Landswerk in 45 and 46 with delivery issues from parts such as gearboxes to shortages of workers and metals to construct the whole of the SPAAG. On the 14th of December, Landswerk requested additional extension of the delivery time, struggled with delivery difficulties in 1946, and did not expect to be able to deliver the first chassis for testing until July 46, partly due to the delay in delivery of gearboxes. On the 17th of June 194, AB Landswerk announced that it could not deliver any LVKV until September 46 due to the metal conflicting delaying the delivery by additional 5 to 12 months, and that it was also not possible to get a hold of any workers. After several years of blunder in the construction of the LVKV FM43, the first produced SPAAGs were delivered to the armed forces in early 48. However, it would take additional years to deliver all of the LVKV FM43s to the armed forces, hence the version name 49. While being extremely delayed for delivery and manufacturing of the SPAAG, more problems arose during its service time in the Swedish Armed Forces. The SPAAG suffered with reliability issues from steering issues causing the increasing the overall length of the SPAAG without increasing the width, overweight, and an underperforming engine. The following are quotes from Ontris translated. Once the SPAAGs were delivered to the Swedish Armed Forces, it was clear early on that the LVKV FM43 had major problems. On the one hand, the wheels were too narrow in relation to the significantly higher weights that the SPAAG had in comparison with the STRV M40K. These cut into the ground and caused wheel heeling or jamming due to the high wheel pressure. All vehicles had wider bands. The vehicle that remained to be delivered in 1948 received the newer tyres from the beginning. An asymmetrical tyre where the width has been increased on the outer side. Furthermore, the 7 tons heavier weight showed that the vehicle was underpowered. The Scania engine of 160 horsepower was simply too weak to provide acceptable propulsion and speed, and a decision was made to later replace these with more powerful engines. The vehicle also proved to be more difficult to steer. The reason for this was the chassis was extended without increasing the width, which resulted in a poorer ratio between length and width from a maneuverability perspective. LVKV FM43 was added to the armour brigades to function as a splinter-protected air defence that could advance together with the tanks. In PB Org 43, the wagons were placed in 2 anti-aircraft platoons and 3 wagons each. They were divided so that each tank battalion received 1 platoon each. However, one brigade received only 5 tanks and the other 6. When PB Org 49 was organised, the number of brigades doubled, and instead 3 LVKV FM 43s were grouped in the Special Companies Band Air Defence Platoon. One brigade received only 2 wagons. The number of LVKV FM43s was definitely too small to protect an entire brigade. There were plans from 49 to eventually replace them and introduce up to 275 new anti-aircraft gun vehicles. Prototypes for this were developed, but failed attempts and changed financial framework meant that this series was never realized. Instead, the planned modifications were carried out on LVKV FM43s during 50 to 51. The Scania engines were replaced by an almost twice as powerful engine from Maybach, which increased the maximum speed to 55 km an hour. The tower was expanded with an armour box at the back to provide space for mounting a radio. The spare carrying speed was affixed to the box as well. In other respects, the large number of minor changes were made, but despite these, the carriage was never really good. The complaints continued, and LVKV FM43 never grew out of its mechanical problems. In addition, the SPAG became quickly outdated, as it was not possible to fight against aircraft in bad weather because it was only equipped with optical aiming devices. In connection with the armour brigades being reorganised, according to the Org 63, LVKV FM43 was also taken out of service and were discarded in 1969, with no replacement vehicles being produced. The last vehicle is the Tiran 6 for Israel. During the various wars that Israel has fought with its Arab neighbours, many pieces of equipment have been captured and turned on their former masters. In 1972, reports of a new tank being given to Egypt and Syria prompted raids and intelligence work by Israeli commandos. This tank turned out to be the now famous T-62, given to Egypt and Syria as an upgrade to the older T-54-55 series of tanks. The T-62 would see heavy use by both nations during the 1973 Yom Kippur War. The vehicles put up stiff resistance, particularly on the hands of the better-trained elements of the Syrian army, but Israel still managed to knock out hundreds. The Syrians were excellent tankers, but as the war progressed and the outcome looked bleaker for them with each passing day, many began surrendering or fleeing, leaving their tanks totally intact. This meant that Israel was able to capture huge numbers of T-62s, and they soon would be incorporated into the Israeli army as the Tiran 6, the last tank to bear the Tiran name. These tanks received a number of upgrades to better fit in Israeli service, but not nearly as many as other tanks in the Tiran family. The Tiran 6 was primarily a reserve brigade vehicle, only having seen any major combat use during 1982's Operation Peace for Galilee in Lebanon. Following this conflict, they retired from active service as the M60 became more plentiful, and many were sold off to other countries. As mentioned, the modifications received were minimal compared to the Tiran 4SH and the Tiran 5SH. The gun remained the 150mm U5 TS smoothbore, meaning that Israeli tankers had to rely on captured ammunition. This is one of the primary reasons why the tank stayed a second-line vehicle. Experiments to mount the 105mm gun were performed, but that is for another suggestion. Modifications which were performed include extra storage boxes welded to the turret sides and rear, 2 mounts of Browning 30 cal machine guns were added to the roof, a Browning 50 cal heavy machine gun was added to the main gun. Like many other Israeli tanks, mudguards were added to the tracks, and infantry comms equipment was fitted to the rear of the tank along with first aid boxes. Spare track links were affixed to the vehicle as extra armour, M48 pattern-style headlamps replaced the Soviet ones, and a coaxial PKT was replaced by an M1919. Simple as, really, would just be another fun vehicle to put into the game. As always, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. I'd just like to thank Brendan Quinn, Vilneus, Character Fuel, Juan the Panda, Carrion Crow, Gus Irenicus, Pyman, Merciless Reaper, Orangetail, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, Moxie, B. Young, Bareen, Peter Grayling, Alan Hacker, Sem Alslan, Uncle Bean, and Derek R., and also Lafouche for supporting the channel.